Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Fallout 76 build video. Today we're going to be focusing on the Laser Carbine. Now, I have been playing around with this weapon a lot, and I've been able to actually hit some pretty decent damage numbers. And the main reason I made this build is just because I want an alternative to the Elder's Mark. So many people using the Elder's Mark, I'm not that kind of person to just run the meta guns all the damn time. So I like to find alternatives and, some fun, different guns to use. And the great thing about this gun is it's very easy to get hold of if you have enough caps. And you can get some really good buffs from it, and there's some very key points that I want to make in this build video to you guys, so you're going to have to stick around and pay attention to that, because you might go overboard with the intelligence side of things and you really don't want to do that, and I'll explain why. So the first thing that you want to come to here is the bounty board area in Highway Town. Highway Town on your map is just over here, if you didn't know that. And when you select it, you can hit fast travel and go to bounty board. And you just want to turn around and talk to Splint, and Splint will have the plan for the V63 carbine. I bought all of the plans here just so I can play around with the weapon. I'll double check which ones you actually need to get, but yeah, that's what you want to do. And make sure that you equip the charisma card hard bargain, so you can get the plans a little bit cheaper too. So let's look at the weapon itself. So we went for Furious in the legendary 1-star. We went for Rapid in the 2-star legendary, and Intelligence in the 3-star. Now, I did play around with Quad. Because this gun overheats. As it overheats, it does more damage. However, the condition drops down massively, so that's why I didn't stick with Quad. However, even though I swapped the Furious, I haven't really noticed too big of a difference, so you could use Quad or Furious if you really wanted to do that. We have Rapid just to get to the higher DPS and to get the overheat a lot faster, so we can apply more damage faster as well. And we have Intelligence just to give us +3 intelligence there. With it being an energy weapon, it benefits from the science card. And so you want to buy the overclocked capacitor plan and the forceful stock plan. Those are the two that I stuck with for this weapon. So yeah, it's a pretty neat weapon. It's not the best to ADS with, to be honest, but we do have some good accuracy to hip fire too, so you don't always have to ADS with that. So now let's move on to the armor. As you can see, I'm in power armor right now. You don't need to use power armor, by the way. The main thing that you want to do is just put 2-star legendaries on your power armor, or whatever armor you decide to use. I also am running through hikers just for the the carry weight cost reduction. But again, the main thing is just getting 2-star intelligence. You could probably put Adrenal on, I guess, if you want to do the kill streak stuff and get a little bit more damage there. But the 1-star legendaries right now are not that great. I know they're getting reworked a little bit, so we can mess around with some 1-stars a little bit better. But yeah, the main thing is just getting 2-star intelligence mods on any type of armor piece that you have. Also, I have the T65, and right now I'm using the internal database. That gives me +2 intelligence there. For example, if you're not going to use power armor, you just want to use normal armor, I can recommend an Under Armor for you. So you can either go for the Vault 76 jumpsuit. That can actually give you +2 intelligence there, as well as doing a mission to get a potential plan to get a certain lining on your military fatigues and some casual wear. So if you come over to the Hunter Shack and go on to the terminal, you can actually start a mission called Queen of the Hunt, I believe it's called. Just off the top of my head, I'm not too sure about that. But basically you do that. It's like a daily mission, and that can give you the plan for a lining to put on, like military fatigues, and that can actually give you +3 intelligence. So you don't really want to go overboard on the intelligence side of things, and the main reason being is, we are using science, so the science perk card can give you energy weapon buff depending on your intelligence. Now, this kind of has diminishing returns at some point, so the key amount of intelligence that you want to get to is 30. You don't want to go any higher than 30, because the next buff is until 60 intelligence. Now, you can get some little percentage buffs, but I wouldn't worry about it too much, because it's like 1, 2, 3%. Unless you get to 60 intelligence, you're not going to get a massive amount of difference on the damage there. So 30 intelligence is enough. And the main reason being that gives you 35% energy weapon damage. if you want to get 45%, which is an extra 10% energy damage, you need to go all the way up to 60 intelligence. So don't go any higher than 30 intelligence. That's what we want to work towards. And let's look at the build that we're using right now. So for legendary perks, we're going to start off with that. We have 2 points in perception. We have 3 points in intelligence. We have 3 in agility, 2 in luck, and 2 in endurance. I'm still leveling up my legendary perk cards, but yeah, that's my legendary cards that I have on. I do have ammo factory, that's just for crafting and stuff like that. So we want 13 in strength. We have easy target, scatter shot, bringing out the big guns, bulletstorm, and lock and load. So this is what I was talking about with the crippling. I tried it without using easy target and scatter shot, because those it's an energy weapon. It's not great for crippling, to be honest. But honestly, I noticed the difference in the damage. Like, as I was going around, I was fighting like the super mutant behemoths the other day. I was taking down scorch beasts and everything like that, just to test the damage difference with and without these cards equipped. And I noticed like I would say about a 20% difference in damage roughly. So yeah, it's definitely worth having these on. We have 15 in perception. We have number cruncher. Your weapons have 2% increased damage per AP cost, which is great because our AP cost is actually pretty high on the laser carbine. We're not using VATs at all as well, which is good. We've got Tormentor there, again, another crippling weapon perk. It's so weird. Okay, the damage numbers sometimes don't make sense in this game. It's just because of energy resistances on certain enemies and stuff like that. Again, I noticed the difference when I took them off, so I've left them on there. We have Tank Killer, Center Masochist, Deal Sealer, again, another one. So if you're crippling, you deal plus 10% damage for each impairment your target has too. So again, Deal Sealer can work again with crippled stuff there, which is good. And I went for Ground Pounder. Ground Pounder gives you 30% faster reload and 30% hip fire accuracy. Like I said, the laser carbine's not great for ADSing, so having it as a hip fire is actually pretty solid there. Endurance, I just have Ironclad. Charisma, I have Tenderizer there, just because each attack makes your target take increased damage too, so that's good. And since we're going to be shooting a lot with Rapid, we can get away with that. We have First Aid, Power User, just because I'm using power armor. And we have 10 in intelligence, which has been enough for me, just because I have enough mods to get my intelligence up to 30 there. So, but you can play around. You might want to put more in intelligence for your science buff. And I mean, there's not really a lot you can do with intelligence, if I'm being honest. Intelligence perks aren't the greatest. Unless you're using, for example, cryo or like pyro weapons, then you can stack it all, which is really nice. But other than that, it's not great. The key things for intelligence, though, for this weapon is definitely science and gunsmith. I have batteries included on, not really necessary if you have through hikers, but I just like having that there. Gunsmith is massively necessary for this, just because of how quick the weapon can deplete when it's overheating. You can really burn through this weapon like super fast, so be wary of that. You really want to put gunsmith on because it's going to help you out really loads. So the main thing is to go for science and gunsmith in the intelligence side of things. And now for agility, we have gunslinger, gunslinger expert, guerrilla, guerrilla expert, guerrilla master as well, and modern renegade. Again, went for some more limb damage and more hip fire accuracy, so this thing can actually shred just from hip fire instead of ADS and a lot. And then on luck, again, I am a ghoul. I have faulty spots to get some more weak point damage by 15%. We have Wild West hands as well. It has helped being a ghoul for this build, but it's not necessary, if I'm being honest. If I wasn't a ghoul, I'd probably put quad on the weapon. That way I'm not having to rely on Wild West hands to reload so often. We have Ricochet and we have Class Freak as well, because we have some mutations, and I'll go over my mutations shortly. But yeah, that is all of the perks that we have on there. Now, moving on to my mutations real quick. So for the mutations that I went for, and these are the ones that I always use, to be honest, I have Adrenal Reaction there. Eagle Eyes is probably a really solid one to choose. You don't necessarily need to go for it because that's just plus 50% crit damage, which is mainly what you're going to be using in VATs. Egghead is the one that you want to look at because that gives you +6 intelligence. Unfortunately, we have marsupial, which gives us -1 intelligence, so we're really only getting +5 from Egghead, but it's still a really good serum to put on just because we're getting all that extra intelligence. And the great thing about this build is you're going to get a lot more XP and level up a little bit faster because you have so much more intelligence there. Okay, so here is the build that I would go for if I didn't have any of the legendary perks, as I mentioned before. So this is what we're going to go for: 7 in strength, 14 in perception, 3 endurance, 2 in charisma, 10 in intelligence, 15 agility, and 5 in luck there. And we just want to look at the perks that we went for. So I just kept bringing the big guns and bulletstorm. I just wanted to make sure we have those two selected, and we have barbarian on there. Number cruncher, tank killer, tormentor, center mascus, concentrated fire, and downranger. Downranger, you can mess around with this. You don't necessarily need to have it on. I just have it on because it gives you +20% range damage to far enemies there, so that's nice. We have ironclad, we have tenderizer, and then we have power user, science, gunsmith, batteries included, and first aid and intelligence. On the adrenaline side of things, I went for tier 3 gunslinger, I believe it was. Instead, I had tier 2 on the other build. And we also have adrenaline instead of modern renegade because we're not doing any of the limb damage stuff with the other perk cards. I put adrenaline instead, especially if you put adrenal on your build. You can actually, you know, on your armor side of things, if you have adrenal on, you can stack it with adrenaline, which is nice to give us more damage while we're on a kill streak there. And then for luck, I just went for 40 spots in class freak. You can put quad on if you're not going to be using Wild West hands there. But this is the loadout I would use if I didn't have any of the legendary perks. And that about wraps up the build video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoy using the laser carbine as an alternative to using the Elder's Mark. I'm going to look for more weapons like this that we can play around with that's, you know, I wouldn't say as good as the Elder's Mark, or, you know, it's going to be so much meta shifting or anything like that, but it's just a really nice alternative to use this. And, you know, it's a good leveling up build because you do get a lot more of intelligence there, which is very nice. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button for more Fallout 76 build videos on this channel. If you have any questions about the build, feel free to leave them down below. And I have been Pixels, my awesome viewers. I'll catch you guys in the next one.